Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Center with myself, Swiss Army Shawn, and our special guest, Jockey Casey Fusilier. Hopefully, I got that right. I don't have the best Cajun pronunciation.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's usually.
Fusilier. That was the other one I was going to go with, so forgive me for that. So I saw
You
you look.
you're closer than most.
I see you're driving, and on your Facebook, you had a picture of you driving off to Louisiana Downs. You got the radar detector. What's that for?
Why do I have the radar detector?
You
Oh,
go a
just
little over the speed limit.
yeah. Sometimes just to keep me aware, whenever it chimes,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me pick my head up and make sure that everything's all good.
Yeah, I understand. I was driving through Arkansas and got me one of those tickets. I didn't like that at all. So, along with being a jockey and on loving horse racing, I see on your Facebook you're a big football fan. Is that right?
Oh yeah. I
Saints are
love
your
to hate
team.
on the. I love the Saints, win or lose, and I hate the Cowboys.
You hate the Cowboys. All right. I ain't
I,
one of
I,
them
lo-
boys.
let me rephrase that. I love to hate on the Cowboys.
Well,
It's fun.
I saw that, and I'm not one of those boys. So that's all good. Anyway, let's move on to horse racing. 21, 22. Looks like you're having a strong resurgence. What do you think is going right the last couple of years?
Majority mainly. I had quit riding for like 8 years and became a dad, a father, and just grew up a lot. I was young back then, and so yeah, I mean, I blame it all on maturity in a good way.
Okay, good. So, how has the becoming a little bit more mature affected or impacted your racing? Is it just more preparation? Is it about getting better relationships with people so you get better mounts? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a little bit of both. Better preparation, um, taking more time uh, to perfecting my craft, I guess you could say. Watching replays of horses that I'm gonna ride and or horses that I'm gonna run against and stuff like that. Just doing a lot more homework than I typically would when I was younger.
All right, well, that's certainly understandable. How did you get your start into horse racing? Is it a family thing? How did you get started?
Yeah, my dad rode a little bit when he was young, just like a teenager going through high school and stuff. And I don't know. Honestly, since the first time I ever saw a horse race, I knew I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do for a living, and nothing else mattered.
So
I, I was immediately hooked.
you said the first time you saw horse racing. When was that?
Oh, I was a small child. I have no idea how old I was, but I mean, I'm assuming a toddler, 4 or 5 years old.
Hmm. And is
Yeah,
there
and
a?
then
I'm
from
sorry.
there on out, I was riding the back of a couch.
Now we found talking with other jockeys and other folks that got involved in horse racing, whether it be on the betting side, the analyst side, the handicapping, or the jockey side. There was always someone in the family. It's one of three people usually. Usually dad, sometimes mom. Mom and dad, they usually go together. A degenerate uncle that gambled and did everything, or a grandma.
Uh,
Which one was it for you?
it was my dad, obviously, with his history in horse racing and he had still owned horses, so he was able to get me, hooked up with his trainer at the time, and he taught me everything I know.
Hmm.
So I was fortunate. For a lot of people, it's hard to find those kind of connections. So in that sense, I was very lucky.
Shawn, how are you tonight?
I'm great. So, Casey, in between the 8 years of riding, what were you doing?
I sold insurance for State Farm for a little while, uh, and that was just not the job for me, boring. And then I helped my dad. My dad has a used car lot, and he would sell cars. So I got in the car business for a little while, and then my kids started becoming a little older and saying, "Daddy, it's not fair. We never got to see you ride horses," And I thought that was funny, and my agent that I've always had and known forever. He would stop by like once a year. Hey, you don't want to go back? You don't want to go back? And for the longest time, I didn't have it in me anymore. And then one day when it came, I don't know, something changed after the kids was, saying how it was unfair that they never got to see me. And came and I said, yeah, let's do it. And I started back. Best decision I've ever made.
And you did the insurance kind of in my neck of the woods, like 45 minutes an hour, Lancaster, PA. Is that about correct?
No, I did live there for a little while, but I sold insurance in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay. So what's this whole comment, and we're going to get you to sing. Somebody wanted you to sing with Island Boy.
And there's no back.
No, that's not going to happen. No. For anybody who doesn't know, please go do yourself a favor and Google the Island Boys, and you'll get it. Right? No, it's just a joke that, when all them videos came out with them guys, I played on replay player and in the jocks room and call everybody an Island Boy. When I pass them down the lane, they'd be like, Island Boy. Just joking with them,
There's a little bit of just a couple more lines would work.
I'm just an Island Boy trying to make it.
That's for sure.
There you go. We'll give you a half a point for that.
Yeah, quarter star.
The other thing that got a lot of attention is that picture you sent me in the silks. Talk about those silks a little bit.
Yeah. Those silks are for a trainer, Joy Morton. She's actually married to Tracy Haber. And they're the coolest silks ever. They're every rider's favorite silks to be in. They're just really cool, Whoever designed them, or I give them an A+.
So how far are you away from the track?
From what track?
You were at Louisiana today, right?
Louisiana Downs, yeah. Well, I live in Lafayette, which is about a little over 3 hours from Louisiana Downs.
So you're traveling quite a bit then.
Yeah, I saw on your Facebook that you had one of those like cartoon things where you're traveling all your, marking down all the different places that you travel. You had said that,
like this morning, I had to get up at like 4:30 and went from Lafayette, where I live, to Delta Downs, which is like an hour and a half away, and then from there to Louisiana Downs, which is like a 4-hour drive from Delta Downs, and then now I'm going back to Lafayette.
Hopefully, Pops is giving you good deals on used cars.
Yeah.
Well, the prices nowadays, you need good deals on used cars, right? Because the prices have gone through the roof. So now that you're back in racing, your kids pushed you to get back into racing. How do they feel about going to the track and watching you run?
Oh, they love it. I mean, and they're my biggest fans and biggest critics, and they keep me very humbled and trying to be the best I can be, because if I'm not winning enough, my 5-year-old will let me know.
How would she let you know? Did she be like, Dad, pick it up, or?
Yeah, I did like this summer when Evangeline got started off a little slow, which it always does for some reason. She was like, Daddy, what happened to you? You used to win the race like every day. Now you're winning like one a week. I'm like, well, honey, I'm trying, So that was her standard from then on. The remainder of the meet, I had to win at least one a night, and did a pretty good job at staying true to that.
You can see that in your Equibase numbers. Like I said, it's a jump. You're definitely having a nice rebound here in 2021, 2022, where you could see the numbers just jumping off the charts compared to 2020. Of course, that was a COVID year, so that was kind of difficult on everybody. So you said that your agent would tell you to come back in. Your kids promoted you to get into it. So what kind of preparation work did you have to do to get yourself back into that kind of, it's a killer mentality, winning mentality?
Honestly, not much. I mean, weight wise and everything, I never gained any weight or everything. Structurally, I had stayed about the same. Now, physically, it took quite a while to get fit again. I mean, the first couple of weeks, I would jog a couple horses a day. Like couple miles each. I mean, and I was miserable. You know, people don't understand how physically fit you have to be to do this. So that was probably the hardest aspect of it. But overall, everything was like riding a bike, I guess you can say. It all was just natural, you know, instinct.
So how many did it take you any races when the gates finally opened and it was real to get kind of used to it again and be like, okay, this is normal again?
No, I mean, now when I win my first race back, I mean, it kind of gave the thrill of winning your first race ever again. Not as good, but pretty darn good. But other than that, I mean, everything, you do it, you know, thousands of times. I mean, you know your job. You know what you have to do when you get out there. So.
Besides your dad, were there any jockeys that were like real mentors to you that really helped you?
Actually, Brian Hernandez Sr., he was the best. He taught me everything I know from the beginning of time. He actually, at the time, galloped horses for the trainer that was teaching me how to ride. And he went on, he taught me, he taught Brian Hernandez Jr., several.
Seems like you may be running through a dry spot in the bayou there for cellular signal for a second. It's kind of freezing out on us a little bit. It's not your computer. Casey? It's not my computer this time. It's Casey's computer this time, for sure.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
So you think he just lost his signal for sure, right?
Yeah.
So in a little bit, while Casey comes back, we're going to have on who are we going to have on the Survivor champions? Are you back with us now?
There you go.
You kind of went out for a minute there, Casey. I don't know if you're going through a dead spot in the bayou or what there, but certainly the cell signal was out. So you mentioned that your first race, you know, when you won your first race back, it was almost as exciting as the first one. But I know when you win your first race, when you go back into the jocks room, it's a little bit of a hazing going on. So when you take 8 years off and you come back and you win a first race again, is there like hazing part 2, and how is it different than hazing part 1?
No, there was no hazing part 2, but I mean, I was so thrilled to just win a race again that it wouldn't have mattered. You know, you don't care. I mean, honestly, I mean, you know, the hazing and all of that is just something you actually end up loving it when it's all said and done, because it's you're being initiated part of it, like a brotherhood or sisterhood, whatever you want to call it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, nobody really hates it after they have it done to them. They feel like they're actually part of something bigger than them afterwards.
So you can rename it, rebrand it the Horse Racing Illuminati, and to go ahead and trademark that and sell some shirts, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So you had mentioned that Brian Hernandez Sr. taught you everything you know. So any young jockeys that are watching, give me 2 of the lessons that Mr. Hernandez Sr. gave you that you feel like contribute the most to your success.
Oh, jeez. That's a good one. I don't know, man. I wasn't expecting that. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it's something that he said more than it is his actions. Just the way he presents himself and always does. It's something that I always try to mimic. It's always very professional, calm, you know, doesn't lose his temper. It's just ideally how you would want a rider to be.
So to add to that,
and also he's intelligent as far as to ride a race. He thinks.
That's what I was going to say too. To add to that, because we talked to a couple jockeys that brought it up, how important, and bettors never get this. They don't know what's going on at home or whatever. How important is it mental-wise to be a jockey?
Very, very important. I mean, if you mean as far as like nerves and all that, I mean, the number one thing everybody will tell you is that the day that you have feel fear in you is the day that you need to retire because you're not any good. I mean, mentally, you need to go out there and none of that stuff be on your mind. You need to be focused on winning the race and making the owner money as best you can.
How many injuries have you had so far? You've been pretty clean.
I'm sorry.
What is your injury history so far in riding?
Oh, I've had my fair share. That's actually part of the reason why I had quit for 8 years. I had a knee injury that wouldn't heal. I started with a torn meniscus and had 2 or 3 surgeries, and every time I put a little strain on it, you would just tear again. So that's why I had quit, and I was sour at the time. But I've broke ribs, collarbone, both of my wrists at the same time. Yeah, I mean, it just goes with the territory.
Absolutely.
Which one was the worst?
I don't know. I mean, at the moment they all feel like the worst. At the moment you're like, oh, this is the worst pain ever. But I don't know which one would be the worst. But I'd say the most unique would be the wrist. Having cast on both your arms at the same time, that was a bit challenging.
Tough to scratch yourself like that, right? When one arm itches in the other one, you can't do it with those casts on. So when you're going through I'm sorry, go ahead.
I couldn't hold a can of Coke. I couldn't open a drink or eat. Yeah, like everything was a challenge.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you're going through the program, looking at your entries for the next day or the following day, when you see it, that you have a speed horse, you have like a stalking horse or a closing horse, which one of those are you like, yes, and why?
Me, my favorite race to ride is what you're asking. Is, on the dirt, I love to be on the lead. I like a good speed horse. On the lead or right off of the lead, I feel like I have a little more control of how the race is going to go when I'm there. And eating dirt sucks and it hurts. For anybody that doesn't know, dirt thrown at you at 40 miles an hour is no fun. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love a good speed horse. Now, contrary to that, on the turf, I love a good turf horse. I like to just sit back, relax, and have a nice turf horse come running late.
Does the turf hurt as much as the dirt, or no?
No, you have almost no kickback at all on a turf horse. I mean, especially if it's done right, you shouldn't have any kickback at all. So you don't have any of that. I mean, and it's just a whole different style of race. On the dirt, a lot of it is more speed generated, go, go, go. Whereas the turf, most of the time, depending on the turf course, you don't want to be on the front end or close to it. I mean, most of those horses are never going to finish in the top 3. It's the ones that come from out of it,
Is that why horses close so well on the turf compared to the dirt? Because there is no kickback? And they're comfortable?
No, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of turf horses, they're just built differently. They're the way their hoofs are, everything, their bodies, they're just, a lot of turf horses are built structurally different than dirt horses.
So when you get the kickback and you know that it, say for lack of a better word, it annoys the other people behind you, is it ever like a strategic thing to kind of get in front of the other horse, give a little kickback so maybe the horse and the jockey get a little bit less eager?
It is definitely a strategic thing. Like say you have a horse that if he's sitting too close early on, he won't finish. One of the strategic things you can do is you put him behind horses and make him meet some dirt for a little while, and kind of relax for you. He won't be tugging on you as much. So yeah, it's definitely a good strategy.
I had not thought of that before, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So now we have a better sense of why sometimes. So one of my pet peeves, and Shawn could probably repeat this for me verbatim before it even comes out. So you like to be up on the front. So the clock in the head. How can people improve the clock in their head so you're not claiming 5 at parks going a mile and a 16th coming out of the chute at 22. How do you go about like improving that clock so maybe you're more around 23 and a half or 24, saving that second or second and a half?
Well, if I remember correctly from when I rode at Parks, is on the infield there's these big monitors that show you the fractions as you're going by. So nobody should ever be going fast. Like there should never be a professional jockey going that fast over there. It's like a cheat sheet all the way around there. I mean, you know exactly how fast you're going. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know. It comes naturally for some people, and I guess other people it don't.
Are there other tracks that have like a cheat sheet so that there's no excuses for the jockeys to be going too fast, too early?
There are. It wasn't the first time I've seen it. I don't recall where else I have written that it was like that, but I do know that Parks they have them on the infield, like on the inside rail, every quarter mile before you get to it. It'll light up and it'll show you the fractions of how fast you're going.
Did you know that, Shawn?
No, I didn't.
I did not.
But now I'll be
that
looking
either.
for it Saturday.
Yeah, and any jockey that goes too fast at Parks, you no longer have an excuse. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even if you went fast for that quarter, I mean, you see that you obviously know you need to slow down. So I don't know. That one there is baffling to me.
And we talked about your first win. We talked about your first win when you came back. And just recently, you got career win number 500. What was that like?
That was perfect. It couldn't have been better. I had my family there. My mother was there with all three of my kids. And it was the last race I rode of that week before we was going on vacation. And it was just, it couldn't have been better to get that out of the way and not have to go on vacation and worry about that.
I was going to say, so you had no pressure at all.
No.
So you're not at the track. What do you do? Your knee hurts, so obviously probably not basketball or anything like that. But what do you do with the kids to have like just to kind of get away time, to freshen up time, to sharpen the saw time? Fishermen, kind of things you like to do.
Yeah. My kids love to fish. We have a pond at home. They love to fish. I like to hunt. My girls, they're into riding too. They like to ride jumping horses and stuff like that and compete. And my son, he's more football, PlayStation, stuff like that. And swimming, they swim like fish every day.
In the pond? It's not
No.
alligators get in there. Hey,
No.
so you mentioned that your daughters, they like to ride. So I know when my son played soccer, I never played soccer. I played football and wrestled, but when I would go to watch him play, I would be more anxious or nervous or have more energy for him than I did for myself. Now, obviously, with horses, there's another element. How nervous does that make you?
Well, they're with their mother in Pennsylvania most of the time, and she is a really good riding horse, jumping horse instructor and stuff like that. So she's the one who teaches them everything they need to know as far as that goes on that end.
I certainly understand that for sure. So
Now my oldest daughter did tell me that whenever she gets older, she's going to be a jockey and she's going to be better than me.
So how nervous does that make you, knowing that well, you mentioned all the different bones that are broken. I can imagine in the jocks room at times, there's sort of like, anything you can do, I can do better with your list of injuries. So how does that make you nervous?
About my daughter?
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like for me, like I don't worry so much about me, but my kids, I have, I'm like, oh God, no.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not the career path I would ever choose for her. But I mean, this wasn't the career my mother wanted for me either. And at the end of the day, she knew I wasn't going to take her for an answer. So we'll see how it turns out, and I'll support her in whatever. But like I told her, if that is the case, I hope she's better than me. I want her to be better. I want all of them to be better.
Of course. Shawn, anything else, my man?
Well, I just ask, what's your plans from here? And what's your next milestone? Do you have any other tracks on the radar that you want to check out? Anything like that?
Uh, I, I've been to a lot of tracks. The only places I haven't been would be like Saratoga and Belmont.
Certainly good tracks, but now you would have to run at Aqueduct and pretend you're running at Belmont. For sure. All right, Shawn, any final questions for Casey before we let him get back to using that radar detector?
No, we'll give him the chance again to sing more Island Boy. But other than that, it was great catching up, Casey. I know him one again.
Yeah. So we'll save it for next time.
Well, 100%. But we want it in full costume next time, too. So that would be the right way to go, only way to go. If we do things, we do them right. Well, we appreciate your time tonight, Casey, and drive safely. I know that at a long day, it's kind of tired at the end of the night. Obviously, you're not the one driving, but to the driver, drive safely. And we look forward to having you on the next time and continued success. I hope to see that in 2023, that these columns just continue to grow. We love to see people having success. Have a great evening.
All right. Thank you, guys, and enjoy your trip to Parks.
Thank you. Have a great night. All righty, Shawn. How about that? No big head today. That was a smooth transition right there. Probably one of our best. So before we move on to Jordan and forgive me, Shawn, my brain
Mike
never
Moss.
works. Mike Moss. Yes, like Randy Moss. We have the if you haven't done it yet, I don't know. Have the Mariners started playing today? The picks with the professor. Mariners.
I do not believe so. No.
So it looks like you get the picks with the professor, who in his parlays is up 4.75 units for a almost 39% ROI. It says tonight. Well, that game is at 8:40 p.m. Eastern, so you probably it's right about start time. You might want to check that out if you like to bet on baseball. There is a link in the description. Please click on that, and when you go over to the videos, head into the comment section. Be loud, be obnoxious. Let them know that Horse Racing Today sent you. Looks like Mike is with us now, so we'll just bring in Mike, and then in a moment, hopefully, Jared joins us. Jordan. I got too many J words. Hey, Mike, how are you this evening?
I am doing great, Rich. How about yourself today? I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, we appreciate you being in the contest and showing everybody how to do it, right?
Well, I'm going to give away all of my dirty little secrets today, I promise.
Well, that's what we're looking for, because I made it to like the semifinals in the first round. Then I didn't play in the second round because, Shawn won't let me keep the shirt. So we'll see what happens this time around.
I would be wearing it. I will wear it as soon as I get it, for sure.
Oh, yes, I have to go ahead. And now we have Jordan. Jordan, how are you this evening? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, fantastic. Wanted to make sure that that Z horse almost came in at 42
Yes,
to
I
1
can hear
today
you.
at the second pick. That was pretty close. All right, gentlemen. So, all right, we'll start with you, Mike. What are your dirty little secrets to winning the Jockey Challenge? Because Shawn's about to kick off Jockey Challenge number 3 in a couple of days.
Yeah, Monday.
Looking forward to it for sure. I was really nervous at first. I was the only person that picked my jockey on the first day, and I'm like, there's something about this I don't know. But what that allowed me to do was be a day behind everybody. Like on day one, like 14 people picked the same jockey. Well, that would make me look at him for the next day.
Aha, that's a pretty tricky. That's a really good angle. Kind of like the beaten favorite angle.
I just found the first one. Honestly, I go through all Equibase is your friend for this. I go through all the entries. I don't care about looking at horses in this kind of deal. I start looking for favorites, 6-5, 8-5 type horses. And if I start seeing a name a couple times, then I see how many mounts he's got. See if he's got like 7 horses with a 5-1 or under, as long as he's got a couple favorites, he or she, I should say, by the way. A couple 6-5, 7-5, and then maybe 3 or 4 or 5 more entries at 5-1 or better. That was my guy.
How about you, Jordan? What's your secret to bringing home the inaugural Jockey Challenge?
Yeah, I'll get some feedback.
On the from the podcast here, you're hearing it in your headphones?
Yeah, I'm getting like echoing.
Well, I don't hear any echoing. Does anybody else hear any echoing?
No.
No, so you should be
Don't
good
you?
to go then.
Yeah, either you're good, or the only other way you could do it is go out and come back in, and it might get rid of it.
Yeah, so probably the best thing is to go out and go back in. Are you emailing him or texting him? Shawn?
Yeah, I'll tell him.
All right,
All
I'll
right.
do that.
Yeah, so he got it. All right,
Okay,
fantastic.
you got it.
So Shawn's going to kick off the next one, Mike, in terms of the Jockey Survivor Challenge. Are you going to use that same strategy, or are you going to switch it up now that you've kind of let the cat out of the bag?
Well, the good news is that we have plenty of tracks running, so I believe I'm going to stick with it. I've got my favorites. I've got a lot of jockeys in my virtual stable, of course, so I get a kind of heads up on jocks that I like to follow at certain tracks. I'm an Oaklawn guy. I live in Hot Springs, lived here for 25 years, so I'm all the time looking for the guys that run at Oaklawn, of course. I'm a homer. That gives me a nice little head start. But, some of these jocks, I bet Oaklawn a lot when we're in session. I do simulcasting some, but I don't follow Emerald Downs. I don't follow Golden Gate. I don't have the time. Unfortunately, I wish I did, or the money.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it, right? The money.
But I was able to learn a lot and learn about some guys. And through this contest, I guarantee you some jockeys got added to my virtual stable for sure.
Good. So you and now you're having your speaker through your computer out loud, right, Jordan? So you and now you're having your speaker through your. Yeah, so that's get the echo chamber going on there for sure. If we can't hear the echo, it's not a big deal because it won't go through the show. It'll just be in your headphones. So if you can work through that, that's okay, because none of us are hearing it. What are your secrets to winning the first one, Jordan?
Okay, I'm hearing all sorts of echoes, but I'll do my best here. First thing I do is I look at the morning lines of all the tracks. It's not going to work.
No, you sound fine. As long as you're talking, we won't talk. So don't worry about the echo and just keep going.
All right, I'll try it this way.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yep.
you. No problem.
Okay. What I do is I go to Equibase. I look at the morning lines for some prohibitive favorites, to be honest. Then I go and actually look at the races where the prohibitive favorites are and look at the jockey has more than one real live mount. And I try to go to some of the smaller tracks like Charlestown, Mountaineer. I kind of stay away from Parks. I stay away from like Belmont, Saratoga. Louisiana Downs is one of the ones I'll look at. And basically that's what I do. I look for live mounts, prohibitive favorites. And when I get to the point where we're all done with that, then I'll start looking at my favorite track, Charlestown, for jockeys who I think have a chance to win.
So when you guys do your betting, how important are jockeys for you, Mike? How important are jockeys for you, Jordan? We'll start with Mike.
Very. I will play jocks that I think can help a horse, but if I'm on the same jockeys as the public is, and he's 9 to 5, that means he's probably a 4 to 1 horse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll play a jockey to help a horse, but when he becomes a favorite, I learned a lot of this back in the day at Oaklawn. Pat Day could be on a 8 to 1 horse and it would go off at 4 to 5. And do you play the public because they love him? So it's important both ways for me.
I think that's a great insight for sure.
What we needed to know back then with that is if Rich played Pat Day or not, because Pat Day was Rich's nemesis, whether he won or lost.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that secret. Yeah, we didn't have that secret sauce then.
We've kind of had this string of them. Pat Day kind of got into Calvin Burrell's, kind of got into Ricardo Santana. And exactly, I'm trying to beat him. He wins by 10.
That's how it always goes. So he really was 4 to 5 then. How about you, Jordan? How do you use jockeys in your handicapping?
For jockeys, I try to stay away from career losing jockeys. I think good jockeys can add to the chance of the horse winning, but I won't rule a horse out if a jockey is, still has maybe a 5% win percentage. But I do try to stay away from the ones that are like 1 for 106 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
Mike is a big Oaklawn guy. Jordan is a big Charlestown guy. This guy cashes more Charlestown tickets than anybody else I know.
So what's the secret to cashing Charlestown's tickets there, Jordan?
Charlestown, you look, because they have a lot of the 4.5 furlong races. So I tend to look for speed horses, and especially if there's a bias. If there's a bias for speed, those are kind of my best days. Generally, speed is always good at Charlestown. At 6.5 and 7 furlongs, it's not quite as effective, but when you get to the 4.5 furlong races, speed, and then if there's several speed horses, I kind of go with the outside speed over the inside speed.
Some good advice there, Shawn.
Yeah, he does really well at Charlestown. He puts his tickets out there, too, in a lot of groups, so he does really well. Both of you guys, thanks for your support, and congratulations on the victory. What else you guys got with handicapping advice for the public here?
I'll go first. Don't trust the public. That's what I'm going to say. Favorites are favorites for a reason. I'm a big value better. If I like 2 horses almost equally or need the same trip to happen for both of them, and one of them 6-5 and the other one's 4-1, I'm going to take my chances that the 4-1 is going to win 1 out of the 4 times, and at least break even. I really, really trust value, and I play at a track, thankfully, that the odds don't change too much after post.
And you, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go sort of what Mike's saying. Try to stay away from the 3-5s, the 2-5s. Look for value. Sometimes the 3-5s are just the best horse, and I try to hook them up in some exactas, and I do play a lot of pick 4s. So if you can single maybe a 3-5 and work some longer shots around it, that's generally what I do at Charlestown. And I've been, luckily I've hit a lot of the pick 4s and pick 5s at Charlestown.
Sounds good. So one thing you've both forgot to mention is to watch the horse racing today with Terry and Rich and Charles. I can't believe you guys. Come on now. You're supposed to do shameless plugs. Just kidding. In any case, gentlemen, we do appreciate it. Anything that any thoughts on the Breeders' Cup? Any horses that you guys are really circling? Horses on your horse to watch lists that you can't wait to run next time? We'll start with you, Mike, because I can hear the audio is lagging a little bit. So you go ahead first, and then by then the audio should catch up for him.
We are still, 2+ months away. First week in November. Mm-hmm. I don't even start looking at them until I think it's too far out. I don't like 2 and 3 month layoffs. There are some really, really good horses that can handle that, and they're easy to pick out anyway. So I really don't start. I watch the races, and Flightline's going to be impossible to beat, but that's about the only one in my mind. I don't really start handicapping until a couple weeks out, because I may have wasted my time on horses that don't get to make it for injuries or that sort of thing. Sorry that didn't help anybody, but Flightline looks pretty dang good.
I agree. Flightline looks pretty dang good as well. What do you think, Jordan? Any strategic betting advice for something like the big days at the Breeders' Cup?
To be honest, I stay away from big races. I'm happy to play $5,000 maidens at Charlestown. When I get involved with the big races, that's usually bad news for me. So most success is Mountaineer, Charlestown, Penn National, and stay away from all the big stakes races.
I think knowing a local track is great advice. One of the books that I read on horse racing, of the many and the research papers, said really that if you really want to be a serious horse player, you really have to track every little single detail at every single little track. So you know, like, where the biases are, you know, which jockeys go out on Friday night because they don't show up on Saturday. They might be on a horse, but they don't show up necessarily. So
You've been to Hot Springs.
I drove through there and I got a ticket in Arkansas. It's like the first time I got a ticket in like 20 years. And the funny thing is, I was flowing with traffic. And then this really nice gentleman, very nice state trooper, pulled me over. But quite honestly, he had a really deep South accent. And I don't know if in Arkansas the accent can be a little bit different. And I could not understand a word he was saying. And I was like, you know, you got to be polite at the same time. Can you repeat that 100 times? And I didn't. It's a delicate balance before they get mad at you, right?
Yeah, I try to avoid them as well. The balance is they stay over there, I stay over here. For sure.
Absolutely. Especially for me coming from the north, I'll be like, that damn Yankee, I'm going to give him a triple ticket because he can't understand me for sure. Right. Any final thoughts you guys want to share with us? You looking forward to the next competition?
Absolutely. I do appreciate what you guys do. I enjoy the homey feel. Like, you guys are trying to find people to tell their stories. Anybody can put pics out there. Anybody can make posts on Facebook and tell you their best bet of the day. But you guys go deeper, and it seems to be more engaging. I certainly enjoy listening to every interview. These people, you can tell, are why we enjoy this sport, maybe more so than some of the big names. They seem to don't care sometimes, but I really appreciate it. And if you want that kind of hometown feel for a track like Oaklawn, I know, Shawn, you post on our page, and if you don't mind, I would like to plug our little page as well. We really concentrate on Oaklawn. It's called the Winner's Circle, Fans of Oaklawn.
Wait a minute. Did you pay our trademark rights for the Winner's Circle there?
Well, we can make a trade or something if we need to.
How about you, Jordan?
I want to thank Shawn for putting this together. It was a lot of fun, and it made me look at other tracks I never look at. Still keeping with the smaller tracks, but I'm glad to be able to do it again. I guess we start Monday. And also, I want to wish Shawn good luck at Parks. I guess you're going to be there this weekend. I'm actually about 5 minutes from Parks. And if I didn't have plans Saturday, I would head over there. I guess are you there Saturday and Sunday, or just Saturday?
I'm there just Saturday. I'm about an hour, 10 minutes away, and it's for TVG's social pages. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Shawn's in the big time now. You know, he's going to get away from that homey feel.
That's just side and freelance stuff. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, that pays the bills a little bit better than this does. So
yeah, well, we're gonna change that shortly. So Terry says that we're probably going to come down there to Oaklawn for the Apple Blossom weekend. So when we're down there, we'll make sure that we catch up and say hello. Jordan, maybe you might think about heading down there that same weekend and bet on a bigger track. Maybe just focus on the speed horses, but it'd be a lot of fun.
I know, Jordan, you're not into the big races, but do either of you have a pick for the PA Derby this weekend?
I saw the entries. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jordan. I've looked at the entries. I have not dived in yet.
Jordan?
I have not looked at any of the past performances. You know, I recognize the names from the other big races, so I don't really have an opinion yet.
Well, Shawn will have his opinion. I will have my opinion. Terry will have his opinion, and Tom will have his opinion, along with Rich Perloff. That was a great segue. Thank you, by the way, Jordan. When we go ahead and do the Players Edge podcast on Thursday night at 9:30. And while you're here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you, everybody, for getting us over 2,000. Now our goal is 5,000. So you got to tell 2 friends to help us get us there. We appreciate that. Of course, tomorrow, Charles and I will be back to cover Churchill Downs. On Thursday, we're going to cover Belmont at the Big A, or Aqueduct is what the A stands for. On Friday, Hong Kong for Thomas and I for 4 and Fridays. Saturday, I'm not quite sure what Chris and Eddie are going to do. I'm going to leave the initials out because I screw them up every time. That takes us from wire to wire today. Shawn, quickly, who's our guest tomorrow?
Tomorrow is jockey Jeremy Rose. We had him on when he was retired. He's back riding, and he's winning at 20% again. So we'll get to talk to him about his resurgent back to riding.
Fantastic. Well, we certainly look forward to talking to Jeremy tomorrow. Certainly look forward to Rich Perloff on Thursday. Look forward to making our picks at Churchill Downs and Belmont at the Big A. All right, guys, let's try to get this together now. But before we get there, we hope that no matter what you do, it ends up in the
Winner circle.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Have a great evening.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.